Hey travelers, Chris here with another review. Today we are flying Lufthansa's first class on the 747, Queen of the Skies. I'm really excited. I have been flying this plane before in business class, but never in first, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can find. Before that, we grabbed a quick coffee at the Haneda first class lounge. I made a whole video about this recently. You can find it on my channel. And from there, we can already see our plane landing, the Boeing 747-8. This is around 12 years old plane. I believe also the interior is around 12 years old. But anyway, we are flying to Frankfurt from Tokyo Haneda today. It's quite a long flight. It is also a flight over Canada and Greenland, so it's gonna be dark for most of the time, which I'm not looking forward to, but duration around 14-15 hours. It's quite a long flight. Once you enter, you go to the left side. You don't go up, but rather to the, let's say, ground floor of the airplane to find the seating here. And what you can immediately see is quite spacious. In terms of seating arrangement, Lufthansa has 8 seats here in this 1-to-1 and 1-1 arrangement. I sat on seat 2A, which I think is the most private one. Super quick, we just released our latest Marriott and Hyatt point reports. In over 30 pages each, we detail where to get the best value for your points and where to find the cheapest properties globally and for all markets and brands. So if you want to use your loyalty points like a boss, head over to unmatchedvoyages.com/shop and find out. Once you enter the cabin, you already are greeted by these really nice warm creamy color tones. All in all, it looks a bit old school, I would say. And with 8 seats and no kind of closed suites, Lufthansa might not have the most modern product anymore, but it is definitely very spacious and with these, bright colors and no overhead compartments. It looks really airy. So I have to say I like it. It's kind of more of a lounge vibe in a sense. You have the minibar in the middle. It's not really self-serve, but the cabin crew is happy to serve you the champagne and nuts and any other drinks you would like. The seat itself then comes with a lot of storage. Side note that here on the left side, it's a bit weird that you have this gap and you can see that some things drop from time to time, which is not great. But other than that, you have a lot of smaller and bigger storage. Like here you have the headphones in this place. There's a bigger one where you can easily store an iPad in. And behind your seat, which is a bit hard to reach in this seat configuration, is also a bottle of water. So overall, it feels very spacious. I quite like it. Again, not super modern, but you definitely have everything at your fingertips, especially the power plugs, which is important to me. The screen will be controlled with this remote control, and that you can already see. I'll talk a bit about it later, but it's not the newest of in-flight entertainment systems. But with the many windows from your seat, at least you can have a really good look at what's happening outside, which I really enjoy. And as we were getting ready to take off, we were enjoying the Tokyo city skyline. You can see here actually the Skytree as we were making the turn around the city. And there's also an underbelly camera. Nice, even though it was super pixelated. Anyway, let's talk about the in-flight entertainment screen, which initially just started kind of crashing for me. There's this kind of loading circle that never went away until like half an hour later, until it finally reset. It definitely was not the best experience, not the best start to the flight. But yeah, you can see that the system is a bit old. You get, of course, the typical kind of blanket, you get a pajama and slippers and everything, and it's neatly packed there in the ottoman. You can store some stuff there, which is nice. The slippers are super comfy, we still use them here. Then you get a Porsche design toiletries kit with kind of all the basics that you need. I think that looks quite good. And you also get this very fluffy blanket, so more on that one later. What's nice is that you can move the ottoman, so actually it's a perfect lounging position. You really have a ton of space with this seat, so you never have to worry that you run out of it. And then it was already time to look at the menu to see what we were going to eat on that flight. There's no pre-ordering on Lufthansa's first class as far as I'm aware, so it's not like the book the cook option on Singapore Airlines. But nevertheless, we got served an amuse-bouche, and one thing that I quite like is just how private it is with this seat if you want to. Of course, you get some champagne served. This was a rosé. You can see it here. And even nicer, of course, with this ottoman, it means you can dine together in the skies, which I did with my wife. This is something that you can't really do when you have these closed suites now on the first class airplanes. And I think this is still a really nice, but grantedly like a very niche application, but we quite enjoyed it. The only downside is that the table is only so big, so they had to make some arrangement for it. But you can see here we started out with caviar. Not the nicest presentation, to be honest. I'd rather have a little jar like on Singapore Airlines, but nevertheless it feels quite special. The food itself was fine. I think the presentation was good. It was more the taste that was not the most exciting, I have to say, but it was definitely still a decent experience. It just took really, really long to be served. The main dishes here, to be fair, they had to put on smaller plates so we could still, put it on our table for eating with 2 people. But I have to say also taste-wise, this was definitely not something that I would count as like a first-class meal. I definitely had better. We finished off around 3 hours after takeoff with a little bit of a dessert, which was quite nice. And then we were finally ready to get ready to sleep. Here's the bathroom of the Boeing 747. By the way, really nice that you have a little window. I think that's always special. But other than that, besides the rows, which is a nice touch, you find the same toiletries that you find in a toiletries kit. And if you're wondering where the toilet is, which I did in the beginning, this is basically covered by the seating cushion, which is kind of nice if you want to get dressed into a really nice pajama. It's by the brand Van Laak. I think it's either Dutch or German brand, but it's definitely nice. In the meantime, the cabin crew already made our beds. And you can see here it's definitely fluffy. You have a lot of layers. And I have to say that was definitely one of the highlights of this product, is that the bed is really comfortable. It's not the widest. You can see with the seat it doesn't go as wide around the shoulder area as I would maybe like it to be, but it was still quite a good sleeping experience, and I could actually get a couple hours of sleep, which is much needed on such a long flight. Okay, then after a while I wanted to check out the entertainment system. I tried on the headphones, which are on-ear headphones by AKG. I have to say those were pretty bad. The noise cancelling was fine. It's more that on-ear earphones, at least after a while, really hurt at least my ears, so that wasn't great. Besides that, Lufthansa's entertainment system is not ideal. The screen is small and far away, quite pixelated, quite outdated, and the movie selection also not ideal. But anyway, I decided to get a little snack. You can get some ice cream and fruits. I love fresh fruits, and it's always nice to get it on a flight. And I decided to do some work. And here it's really nice that the desk is pretty big, or rather the table, and you can move it around very freely. So there's really no issues with space. You can easily fit your laptop and a lot more things on there and get some work done. There's also on-flight or in-flight internet access, which you get a little voucher for. I tried it out, but apparently in northern Canada and Greenland it didn't really work well for us. If it does, for 25 euros you can also buy access for the entire flight, which I think is fair. It's not too expensive. With the entertainment system being a bit outdated, I decided to watch my own movies and shows on my laptop, which was a much better experience. Side note on the privacy, and it's a bit dark to see here, but it's really great with the privacy divider. I never felt like there was any issues, and there's anyway not a lot of foot traffic here. Meanwhile, I decided to try the kind of a la carte as-you-go menu that you can order to get some basically what is breakfast on this flight. And I have to say those were quite nice, even though the presentation wasn't always as good, but I was still decently happy with the food and also the wine menu. On a side note, these shutters are really cool on the Boeing 747. Anyways, as we were slowly heading towards Germany, we could already see some of the cities down there. Just wanted to look back at the seat itself, and of course it looks a bit old school, I have to say, with the materials and everything, but it also is quite comfortable. You have a lot of leg space. I like the carpet on the floor as well as this kind of carpeting on the walls, so it makes it feel quite quite bright and comfortable. So as we touched down, I wanted to look back a little bit at the experience. I think Lufthansa's first class is definitely nothing special. The hard product is quite outdated by now. The food was so-so, the internet didn't work, the in-flight entertainment system is terrible. But I also have to say what you get with Lufthansa is an incredibly consistent product across all their airplane types. And they also fly to a ton of locations, which is quite nice. That means that you can fly first class, for example, between Japan and Germany, where, for example, ANA and Japan Airlines just don't fly a first class. So if that's interesting to you, I think you should still give Lufthansa's first class a try. Of course, they're getting their new Allegris first class out soon, but as of making of this video, it's still a couple years out until they consistently have it throughout all their fleet. So overall, it's an okay experience. I wouldn't necessarily get out of my way to fly it. It's definitely not an aspirational one, but I also have to say it's fairly easy to get it if you get it with miles. And I wanted to show you how you can do that fairly easily. Okay, so I just want to quickly show you how I booked this flight. There are other airline programs that you can use, but to be honest, the availability is pretty bad. So I actually booked this directly with Lufthansa. You can see here it's around 110 miles, 111,000 for this flight. And the nice part is that you can actually buy Lufthansa miles, so miles and more miles. They have this kind of bundle and go. You cannot directly buy the miles, but this is kind of an indirect way. They apparently needed to bundle it with other services for some consumer protection reasons. But anyway, you can buy up to 100,000 miles, and they are selling it quite regularly with a 50% bonus. So it's like 1.33 cents per mile. And the nice part is you can buy these bundles as often as you want. I think there's like a total limit, but it's much higher. So you can buy multiple of these large bundles. So you can see how nice this is to basically directly buy a first class flight with some miles to spare. And yeah, this is basically how you can buy it. So with that in mind, I think that makes this whole flight and the whole situation much more attractive. So with the chocolates to go, thank you so much guys for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. So cheers.